Hello, everyone. Welcome back to theCUBE here at the NYSE. I'm John Furrier, your host. Dave Vellante was here earlier. We're here for 3 days of Media Week, Cyber Week, AI innovations, and we're here in the East Coast CUBE office and studio, the super studio here on the show floor. Of course, we got the Silicon Valley connecting Wall Street with Silicon Valley and bringing all the best content to the community as part of the CUBE NYSE Wired Network, and now partnership with SourceCode. theCUBE is partnering with SourceCode on a variety of AI endeavors, from AI labs and factories we're going to be building with benchmarks, use cases from customers, a lot of great stories. We're going down in the weeds and getting all the data as our role to get that and share it with you. And Ahmad El-Dardiry is here, President and COO of SourceCode, running the AI and HPC business. Great to have you on theCUBE and your special guest that you brought along with you. Ahmad, that's quite the guest we got here. Explain who's with us here, and then we'll get into the source code.
Yeah, John, it's a pleasure to be here and in NYSE and be part of the NYSE and the CUBE Wired community and the AI Innovators. This is a very special guest. I'm pretty sure this is the first time it's on camera. This is GRYF. And GRYF is the world's first supercomputer with AI-enabled for the edge in a TSA-approved suitcase. So our team has actually tested this. You could go through the TSA and put it in an overhead, luggage. It's something that we've been working on for quite some time. And it's built by us and designed in collaboration with Gig.io with their fabric technology. It really came out of a collaboration with US government a couple of years ago when we were thinking through a lot of the problems on data transport, mission applications that's out in the field without connectivity, and how you go do AI workloads out in different missions. But the application here is endless.
Yeah. Of course, the government would want a tactical edge, a battlefield scenario or any scenario. But I just want to ask, just if you don't mind, this is approved by the TSA. You said
this is in a TSA-approved case.
So packaging innovation.
Absolutely.
What's in it?
So in it, it's actually quite configurable, it's a 19-inch rack mount case. It has multiple sleds. It has an NVIDIA GPU sled and a couple of compute sleds, as well as an SSD ruler form factor sled, a networking sled, and of course power. It's self-contained. You could have it connected to your core infrastructure, or you could have it out unconnected and still be able to do intelligence work, signal data collection, and assessment on the edge. But also, you could link up to 5 of them. So you could truly have up to 30 different nodes talking to each other and working together out in a field, or in some commercial applications that we're seeing really interesting ideas coming from customers in media, filming on location, sports analytics, oil and gas.
Talk about edge of the network capability. Not to digress, not to be kind of show my age and all, but when you were carrying that into the studio here at the NYSE, it's got a little handle in the front too. It's got the pull up, like I got a suitcase. It reminded me of the late 80s, early 90s when Compaq came out with, actually it was the 80s, when Compaq came out with the first luggable. They called it a luggable laptop.
Right.
And if you remember back in the day, it was basically a laptop, they called it.
That's right.
And it was about that size. So what I see now in my mind is so clear is that that's going to accelerate on the packaging side. It's going to get smaller, it's going to get faster. It just really shows the innovation of what we've come through in the industry. I mean, essentially, that's a data center.
It's a data center on wheels.
It's a data center on wheels, and that's phenomenal. Love it. Thanks for bringing that on. We can continue to talk more about it. But I want to get into your business because we have been collaborating with the NYSE, with the Wired Network, with Brian Bauman and Anand, the team here. We see all the technologies coming through here, thanks to Anand and the AI Excellence Center as part of ICE. And really amazing organization. They have a high bar for technology, and I got to say, I've learned a lot and shared a lot with them. We're working on a collaboration with AI, getting AI factories up, AI labs, and getting things like this into the hands of startups and enterprises. And you guys have been doing this, and I want to have you explain, because I've learned through working with you and your team, the capabilities, it's state of the art. So I want you to take a minute to share SourceCode as a company, some of the things you're doing, why you exist, and some of the tactical things that are relevant right now that I find compelling.
Absolutely, and yeah, I mean, it's the team here at NYSE, An and Brian and others, it's been a great discussion and collaboration with them, and also learning. But at SourceCode, we've got a very deep heritage. We've been a company that's been operating for over 30 years. We service customers across 40 countries. And we really work with an engineering-led approach with our customers. So we work with customers of all sizes, from government, Department of Defense, to geospatial, to commercial and enterprises, and banking, and health and life sciences, and a lot of university and research. And what we've been focusing on with very deep partnership with NVIDIA, and other technologies in the AI space is really how to go work with enterprises in their early experimentation of AI with center of excellence solutions that they could really control and own on-prem. And we were all been talking about what does that mean. Yeah. How do they go encourage experimentation and testing for their use cases. Yeah. And really think through their data sovereignty and data governance.
You know, one of the things that's come up that I've identified on theCUBE, and certainly we've been collaborating a lot on, is this demand. I mean, appetite is off the charts in terms of looking at how people are looking to try to evaluate how to stand up critical infrastructure now in clustered systems, whether it's luggable supercomputers or standing up a data center connected to the cloud, to run not only what configurations of that hardware and software stack, but also the configurations of those. There's two dimensions of it, there's two threads pulling there. This is, and then people are throwing benchmarks around. Every keynote I go to, there's benchmarks flying everywhere, and I think this is a huge opportunity to use these center of excellences, the things that you're rolling out as a service, I find to be super valuable, and of course, the world needs to know which benchmarks are real, which ones are relevant, because not all benchmarks are created equal, especially in these emerging times we have acceleration in the marketplace. It kind of reminds me of when the processor innovation from the 8086, the 286, and then you saw the processor revolution, and then, but there was some standards then. It was a little bit slower. Now it's not just the thing, it's multiple processors, multiple fabrics. It's a harder nut to crack.
Absolutely.
What's your view on this? Because I think you have a strong opinion on this, and I like what you're doing, and talk about the complexity of doing all this.
The complexity is enormous, and for someone to stand up a full stack environment and really thinking through what are the open source solutions out there, what are the open source LLMs like Llama or Mistral that they could do in a way that's controlled for their data, and especially their critical data. There's thousands of combination and thousands of variables that you really need to think through as you're building that. So what we've done, partnering with customers, is really thinking through in this early journey, how do they take an infrastructure and get the best use out of it, the best utility out of it, as well as thinking through their proof of concept into production. Where are they getting ROI from these use cases? We hear about tons of use cases, a pent-up demand of experimentation. And right now, we're also seeing, like in 2024, enterprises were shy in investing. And they've been experimenting sometimes out in hyperscalers who have invested quite a bit. But one of the challenges there is data gravity is real. Once you experiment out in cloud, and you really need to think through what's your path to production, and is the use case and the data behind it, because data is key, that's your superpower. Is it appropriate to be in your cloud environment, or is it critical to keep it on-prem? So some of the solutions that we're taking in our Center of Excellence approach with partnering with customers is to really think through the control. How do they build it in a control? How do we help them set up a stack? How do we containerize it? And then how do we, if appropriate, link it to their cloud for production bursts, or in building blocks, deploy it for them in their colos or in their own data centers, right? Yeah,
when I talked to the JPMC CIO Lori Beer at reInvent, fantastic interview if you want to go to the YouTube video on the SiliconANGLE CUBE so check it out. She said, we're doing hardcore machine learning. They got $17 billion annual budget, $10 trillion a day, and they're hardcore. Insane. Their bar is high.
Yes.
They are building systems, but Gen AI is coming for them. So you're starting to see them go, okay, I'm going to need to have this supercomputing capability. They already have tons of data, and they're setting up the Gen AI path. Now they're not slacking on Gen AI, they're just slowing down production because their resiliency framework is so high bar that they're going to make sure everything's resilient. Now they need to be 100%. They're not all enterprises, but my point is, they're sandboxing, right? And I call sandboxing my term, but generically speaking, trying to create an environment for the innovation to start thriving.
Absolutely.
I find that what you're doing is really the benchmark for getting groups to start playing, building, because two reasons. Testing workloads, understanding configuration, but also team building.
That's right.
Who's going to lead the project? Everyone in the organization wants to lead the Gen AI.
And it comes from the businesses, right? It comes from the business units, not from IT, right? So how do you really orchestrate and encourage pilots, proof of concepts, and experimentation without the concerns of runaway costs or the concerns of
That's what I was going to get to, cost, because now I don't need to set up, I can go to a SourceCode AI lab with theCUBE or whoever, or build my own and make it the playground.
Absolutely.
And that's where you can get the innovation and then see how it goes, and then invest.
Absolutely. And we work on whether it's a small investment at the beginning with a couple of nodes, or at the rack scale level, is it different technologies that you want to experiment with on on the inference side, really partnering also with the best of breed of system vendors, but really standing it up in a customer's environment with a white glove service, helping them set it up, bringing in our data science team to really do the right installation, and sometimes doing the right benchmarks for them.
I want to talk about, I want you to also share your thoughts on the source code benefits, because I want to highlight something and I want you to weigh in on it, because one of the things I like about what SourceCode's doing and what you guys have done is you've got a new, fresh perspective on what the environment needs to look like. A lot of the things I see out there in the deployments are either old school hacks and benchmarks, or people not qualified, or super qualified in one dimension.
That's right.
But they can't scope out across more of a horizontal view of what's needed. They might be specialists in certain areas, but they might miss a lot. So you're seeing a lot of domain expertise that's either siloed and misappropriated, or not even figured in.
That's right.
This is a key part.
Absolutely.
You guys have taken a different approach.
Absolutely. We a couple of months ago, we actually brought in the world's leading banks from around the world, here in New York as well as Asia and Europe, health and life sciences, healthcare, and it was really a round table that was Chatham House rules, so I'm not mentioning any of these customers.
Love those.
Even universities that are on the medical research side that were present, and a couple of large telecoms. And the one common thread is the pent-up demand from actually bottoms up in the organization to really experiment with the benefits of what Gen AI could do from different use cases is really, really strong. The top-down requirements are also very, very high. But everybody, there was a common thread that to see an investment both in the infrastructure, driving the right utility of that infrastructure, all the way to the use cases and seeing bottom line ROI, enterprises are not seeing that yet, but it's coming.
And they have to plan for it.
They have to plan
for it.
Because
the top down is dictating, we need to be moving our business model this way, save our costs. Bottoms up needs all the tools and technologies and platforms that they need. But they're also in discovery mode.
That's right. So it was unanimous actually. I mean, it was really incredible. We had about 40, chief AI officers, CTOs, technologists, MDs that were in the room. So the approach we've been taking is, how do we go help these companies stand up their proving ground, right? Their proof of concept, their center of excellences, with really good utilization and orchestration on how they could encourage experimentation within their control. So we have a white glove service. We roll out different AI factories. And we could also work on different underlying technologies as well.
Well, I love this GRYF tool, GRYF.
That's right.
What's that stand for? Is it an acronym? Does it mean anything, or is it more of a?
It's it's a product. It's a name that we had a really good partners with Gig.io to really think through the fabric technology that they have and how to drive the connectivity. But this came out of a collaboration, a requirement with the U.S. government. Actually, it was a big customer within the government that really wanted this AI out in mission, but now we can't really keep up with the demand of. By the way, it's a couple, it's a couple months
How
in
heavy
production.
is it? How heavy is it?
You could try to carry it.
No,
You sure?
Well, I'm wired in here.
Yeah, you could
Ballpark,
absolutely.
but it's enough to lift and put it in the overhead bin.
Absolutely, you could lift it.
It literally could go in the overhead bin.
It's traveled commercially.
Well, you're
across
pretty.
the US.
You're pretty bulky. You're like a
It's-
triathlete, right?
I
You
do
can
triathlons,
actually put it in the
You could
bin.
absolutely put it in the bin. You could carry it.
Okay.
It goes through security, approved.
That must really turn a lot of heads at TSA.
It really is, and I will tell you the excitement around it. Like every customer discussion, we walk in with, here we think is your use cases. Before we end these meetings, I kid you not, like it's incredible the level of excitement. They come up with 3 or 4 more applications that we haven't thought of in their environments.
What I like about what this shows and some of the things you guys are doing in SourceCode, I don't want to use the word integrator or whatever, because that's an older term, but like you're putting the solutions together. And we were on a panel last night up in the NYSE Wired Chatham House Rules event. I moderated with AMD and TensorWave, which is a Neo Cloud.
Absolutely,
so
them as well.
you have a Neo Cloud configuration, you got on-premise, which needs its own excellence center, you got connected to the cloud. These are not well-known constructs in the mainstream over the past a few years. Now, even in the past few years, and they're changing. So there's no rubric, there is no playbook for integrating this. You guys are at the cutting edge, and this is causing the customers to scratch their head, what does it mean?
Absolutely.
They all want to know, what does it mean to me? Because I want to design the best system possible. So in a way, you're like a system builder.
That's right.
You guys are building systems.
This is our onboard design. It's manufactured in our ITAR certified, like security cleared facilities in Boston, where our headquarters are. We've got system manufacturing, integration, and testing in London, Germany, Boston, Seattle. So we're around the world. And we really think through we start from the engineering problem backwards, and that could require us to partner with system builders and we reintegrate, or partners with networking, with storage, or build it ourselves.
I'm not going to say it directly, maybe I will, but when I said about the compact example, they started in a garage assembling things. Michael Dell started his dorm room.
Absolutely.
I mean, they built and assembled systems, PCs, and then servers.
Absolutely.
So we are in another era of a wave that's going to look a lot like that last PC server revolution, Wintel, to the NVIDIA, AMD, Neo Cloud, Amazon Web Services, Azure, Google, Oracle, all, and under the hood, HPE, Dell, Lenovo, Broadcom, NVIDIA. I mean, this is like Silicon Diversity meets, Dell would do this.
Yeah, we partner with Dell.
But they're not doing that. They're doing the AI factories.
That's right.
HPE's got the big boxes.
Absolutely.
Lenovo's out there.
I'll actually tell you about another partnership we have. We are Eviden, which is a big HPC out of Europe, and we are their partner for North America, all the way from exascale to cloud to liquid-cooled systems that we're working with them on. So. We really partner across the board, and we firmly believe in the same hypothesis that you're saying. Like the industry changing rapidly. Everybody needs to think about multi-solution, multi-deployments. And another thing about this is it's really configurable. So we know that even as a customer acquires 10 and 20 of these, in mission, it changes. The requirements change, the configurability change, the number of compute sleds versus GPU sleds change, the size of storage change.
And you're Switzerland. You love NVIDIA, you love everybody.
Absolutely. We have a very, very deep partnership with NVIDIA. We're one of their premier partners in Europe. We've got a very deep software partnership with them as well. They're definitely on the bleeding edge of innovation. The other thing I'll tell you is, while you're out filming on location or collecting data or doing sports analytics, and you're set up there for a period of time, you could pull the storage sled, put it in a backpack, get back to your core network or your core data center, plug it in, download the data, replace it with another storage sled. It's really the flexibility
So it's
and the
just
changing
unplugged, so
demeanor.
the software picks it up, hot swappable, all that stuff's built state of the art.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to love the innovation. And if I'm Dell, if I'm HPE and Lenovo,
Yep. This is an extension.
I'm rethinking like my strategy because I'm saying to myself, if everyone's going to go to build your own cluster,
That's right.
am I going to want to own the whole cluster like NVIDIA? Maybe I do. Maybe I want to be heterogeneous, but we all know history. Open source, open standards, and heterogeneous systems and networks always wins.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Except for the unique use cases.
Collaboration
You know,
is really important.
Yeah, so-
to service all our customers and to get them to get the most out of their infrastructure, the most out of their investments, right?
What are you most excited about? We'll end this segment with Akdan, your most exciting area. Obviously, the innovation you're doing with the form factor, building systems, that's great. The innovation around AI competency centers, whether it's labs or other, for helping people build their sales, all cool. What else are you super excited about?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the next couple of years, the investment in generative AI and seeing the results and the impact that it could have in businesses and their business processes, in their bottom line, whether it's efficiency gains that they get from their workforce or better serving their customers or deploying new products and product lines. That I'm very excited about, and I firmly believe 2025 specifically, this is where enterprises are going to start to take a bit risk, calculated risk, invest, and scale.
Great to have you on theCUBE. Great to see you again.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here.
theCUBE is partnering with SourceCode. We are going to bring benchmarks, we're going to bring data to you. We're going to partner and get all that configuration. We want to set up these factories, these AI systems. We want to put the best workloads on. We want to get those benchmarks. We're tracking all the speeds and feeds. And at the end of this video, you're going to see a demo. We're going to unbox this carry-on
On the floor?
on the show floor,
Yeah.
if they let you. And be careful, Trump was here,
I
so the Secret Service take a look at that.
The president-elect rang the bell this morning, so it was a great honor to be here. We had this dog sniffed on the way in with the Secret Service, and I think Anand, the head of AI here, wants to take it down on the floor and unbox it. And,
shout out to Anand at NYSE ICE. He
and
runs. Well, Brian gets a shout all the time. He runs the wire network. Anand's will be scaling up. He's doing some really pioneering work around AI Center of Excellence.
Across ICE.
Across ICE, but not only is that notable, what he's really doing is he's setting up a culture shift, and he's creating an environment where he's sourcing all the requirements, and he's creating an environment to train and get people their hands on, they're testing, they got so much data, and I think he encapsulates all enterprises, and if I'm an enterprise, I would set up my own center of excellence, because why wouldn't you? You got to get your hands on, and you can't always get the gear.
Absolutely.
Okay, you'll see a video right now after this video of the unboxing of GRYF. Thanks for watching.
All right, thank you for having us.